Hi everyone, I'm joined here today with Special Agent in Charge Troy Walker. We want to welcome you to the Regional Domestic Security Task Force meeting. This isn't the way we want to do things, but as we all know, we're still in the middle of this pandemic and we want to make sure everybody's going to be safe. So we came to the conclusion we're going to do this virtually. Not the best way, but it's the safest way. And when we get done here, we're going to have the focus groups give you an overview on where we can head for the next several months with our teams. I want to tell you for sure how much we appreciate your cooperation, your hard work, and your dedication. This is the biggest and the busiest of the regions. So we appreciate all the hard work you put in, all the training, and the countless hours. So we'll get through this together. Hopefully our next meeting will be in person. But until then, keep up the good work, stay safe, and stay healthy.
Well, good morning, and I'd just like to welcome you all to the general session of our Regional Domestic Security Task Force, as Sheriff Bradshaw did a little bit earlier. As you all know, our state and nation was stressed in 2020 with providing resources for protection of First Amendment protesters and proper response to rioters throughout our region. Resources were also strained due to our responsibilities to assist our federal and local partners with dignitary visits for the 2020 presidential election. You all displayed amazing patience and professionalism during these events to ensure the safety and security of individuals and critical infrastructures within our region, and we thank you. We are extremely proud of all of your accomplishments during the incidents and events that occurred, and your ability to maintain proper support throughout this entire transition. In spite of everything we've endured over the last year, your adaptability and determination has showcased us as a team. We coordinated numerous virtual and local meetings, supplied PPE to our partners and employees, ran multiple testing sites, coordinated an active pod for COVID vaccinations, and numerous online trainings and tabletop exercises. And we've also worked remotely very effectively and hosted the Super Bowl. To include our greeting, we would like to thank you all for your time and attention to our virtual general session, and I look forward to seeing you all and working with you all sometime in the real near future. Until then, stay safe.
Hello RDSTF family and Happy New Year. For all new members or guests joining us today who don't know me as your RDSTF planner yet, welcome to the first official regional meeting for FY21 and our first virtual regional meeting ever held. Although this is our new normal, we look forward to meeting and working with you all in person soon. For anyone not familiar with our membership process, please note that as a Region 7 member, this would be considered your first of 3 annual meetings that you will be invited to this year. Usually these meetings take place at a new location around our region to give everybody traveling a fair opportunity to attend. However, this time around, we're going to keep things safe by virtually meeting until the pandemic is over. So again, welcome. I would like to start off by thanking Sheriff Bradshaw, Zach Walker, and all of you for your time and attention to this general session presentation today. As we know, 2020 was a busy year for us all. However, we accomplished a number of things as a task force that I would love to brief you on before giving the floor to your group chairs and co-chairs. With this being said, I'd like to kick off this portion of our meeting off by introducing you to a few members around the region and state. Between January 1st, 2020 till today, our team has successfully filled the following RDSTF vacancies with new members who were part of the 2020 election process conducted at the beginning of last year. Liaison Josh Green from the City of Miramar Fire, Training and Exercises. Liaison Victor Millian, MDPD, for Joint Media, Campus Safety, and Comms. Co-Chair Erica Benitez from Miami-Dade Fire, Joint Media, Chair Keith Clark, and Co-Chair Joanne Berdian from Maritime. We have Chair Randy Foley from PBSO, and we have Patrick Calvo for MDPD with our new threat management, first in the state and created in officially October 2020. ASAC Felipe Williams, also from FDLE, has joined our team, with Executive Board Member Major Robert Chandler from FHP and Law Enforcement Response, and Chief Timothy Key from BSO Fire Rescue. In lieu of our new regional members, all domestic security coordinating group, voting reps, and R7 focus group vacancies within the DSCG have been filled at the state level. This is the first time in over 2 years that all group reps have been completely filled for voting and overall participation. We thank you all for your continued support. Plan updates in collaboration with the state, Region 7 members attended a workshop prior to COVID and helped draft the latest version of the 2019-2020 DSSP for regional response, recovery, mitigation, and preparation efforts. RDSTF liaisons and members also worked on updating and modifying both the Region 7 TRP as well as the Southeast Regional Fusion Center TRP. These plans were revised to reflect actual types of communication and deployment in place should a terrorism event occur in our region. Our regional plans and charters are scheduled to be updated on a biannual basis, with this year being an active year. Both documents are considered living documents and are being maintained as needed. Last but not least, we were awarded the following through our UASI and SHISHAP grant processes for FY21 and look forward to your group submissions for the upcoming funding cycle. Please make sure to communicate your regional needs within the upcoming breakout sessions scheduled for next month. For 2019 SHISHAP grant, September of 2020, all Region 7 projects submitted for FY20 were approved by the state. In spite of that, we received more funding than any other region in the state for FY20. Health and Medical FWG were awarded approximately $364,000 through the CARES Act for a region-wide deployable mobile vaccination tent. The template was originally submitted through SHISHCAP for FY21. The COMS FWG submitted a statewide template for the MARC cache replacement and MARC system enhancement unit. The combined regional total for both projects was approximately $118,000. The MARC enhancement project was awarded through the deobligated funds from FY17 year and was moved forward. The LA response team submitted statewide templates for equipment such as an armored rook, NVGs, and an X-ray EOD, which were approved and will be presented to the DSOC for funding. The cyber functional work group also submitted for statewide templates and were approved and will be presented at the DSOC as well. All templates included for the statewide cyber symposium, election security training courses, and 2 Albert sensor monitoring projects that capture educational facilities and LE comm systems. The Fusion Center also submitted 2 statewide projects for the FY21 cycle, which were also approved for DSOC funding. LE data share projects were also included in that submission and were approved to move forward. The 21 UASI grant funding process collaborated with the RDSTF LA Response, Hazmat SRT, and Fire work groups to develop and submit the Secure the City's RADNU grant worth $5 million, which we were also awarded within the region to better prepare and respond to incidents that required RADNU detection within terrorist events. The group was awarded the grant and is preparing to purchase the necessary equipment for the regional partners. Some of the equipment will include devices, PRDs, backpacks, and RIDs. The COMS FWG also submitted the 700 MHz overlay template through FY21 and UASI cycle, which was approved by the UAG. The total for the project was over $400,000. And in EM, we submitted a regional project for logistics and EM resource management, which was approved by the UAG. The total for this was $116,000. So all regional projects submitted were approved by the UAG and the DSOC for funding in FY20 through FY21. At this time, we'll continue with our updates from your Regional 7 functional work group chairs. Please keep in mind that you will be receiving your individual group invites for breakout sections next month following this general session announcement. Please stay safe, and we look forward to seeing you very soon.
We're going to talk about the goals for 2021. Now for notes of funding opportunities. Have not been received yet. That date will be determined. Please start working on your potential projects. Be mindful of any gaps, essential needs, and training. Maximum purchase cap is $100,000. We will be required to update our charter this year. Additional information will be forthcoming. We were delayed because of COVID-19 to do our assessment of our SWAT teams, the statewide Tier 1 through 3 teams. Purpose is to validate equipment, capabilities, and future funding. Scheduled to receive a UASI award to finance our coastal radar system. Purchase a completely new radar system, possibly installing a system down in Monroe County. Upcoming events and training for the general group information. Due to COVID-19, we're not anticipating any large-scale training exercises this year. Tampa is scheduled to host the Super Bowl 55 on Sunday, February 7, 2021. Retirement of Jim Chambliss. I'm reading what Jim wrote in his own words. Jim served with the Chesapeake, Virginia Police Department, City of Tampa PD. He retired as FDLE as an ASAC for the Miami office. He served as Assistant Chief of Miami PD and the service with BSO has been challenging and exciting, rewarding 49 years. He's already had the retirement and celebration and parties, so he would appreciate it if you just allow him to drift away, which we're not going to do. Jim's replacement for the RDSTF rep has not been selected yet at BSO. Any updates are to follow. Future meetings. Once we receive clarity on the funding opportunities, a virtual meeting will be scheduled for law enforcement response sometime early in March 2021. On a personal note, I'd like to thank Jim for his service to BSO and his long service to the community and the state of Florida. I'm not sure exactly what we're going to do to replace him. His knowledge, his understanding of the system for all these years is unmatched by anyone. So he is going to leave certainly a large gap in our agency and for RDSTF, but we hope that we will find someone who will at least be able to pick up where he left off. Thank you, Jim, for your service.
I agree. Thank you, Jim, for all that you do. Have a blessed retirement, and I wish you the absolute best. So thank you, everyone. Stay safe.
I'm Bill Johnson, Palm Beach County Emergency Management Director and Emergency Management Functional Work Group Co-Chair. Region 7 emergency managers have been working hard responding to the COVID-19 pandemic within the state of Florida for much of the past year, and many of the regional EOCs have been activated for more than 300 continuous days. They've been procuring PPE for our first responders, establishing and monitoring COVID-19 testing sites, locating vital resources such as ventilators, establishing local county staging areas, establishing non-congregate sheltering options for quarantining residents, supporting our local hospitals in surge planning, establishing field hospitals, thankfully none were used, supporting local feeding programs by infusing millions of pounds of food into our local networks, and supporting numerous municipalities by providing information and resources, actively informing our communities of situation status, safety measures, and rumor control, and establishing local vaccine administration sites. To date, we've vaccinated well over 400,000 people in Region 7. The COVID pandemic has really shown us how important it is to work together in an attempt to contain the spread of the virus. Throughout our communities, while no one really knows where it will go from here, one thing is certain: the men and women in our EOCs in Palm Beach County, Broward, Miami-Dade, and Monroe counties will continue working diligently with our partner agencies to assure that South Florida will be able to respond and recover going forward. Training has slowly began to take place in the region in the past couple of months. Although most of it is still virtual, it has been virtual to keep our skills honed through good training and exercise and practices. Many new courses are being posted weekly on CertTrack and FEMA EMI for our responders to participate in. Finally, it is with mixed emotions that I inform you that I am retiring in February of 2021. It has truly been an honor and a privilege to be a member of the RDSTF and the Emergency Management Work Group. My 25-plus year association with the South Florida RDSTF has been extremely gratifying, and I'm very proud of our accomplishments and to be associated with the RDSTF. And I will truly miss all of the partnerships and friendships that I have established through my tenure. I wish you all the very best.
Hi everyone, my name is Natasha Strokin. I am the RDSTF Health and Medical Co-Chair for Region 7.
Hello everybody, my name is Bill Senishin. I'm the Co-Chair for Health and Medical Functional Work Group.
So over the last year, our group's main focus has really been based on the COVID-19 pandemic. As we know, the virus presented and still continues to present a significant challenge to the hospitals and healthcare entities throughout our region. During the last year, the Health and Medical Work Group has held virtual meetings for our members in June and November of 2020. We've also worked very closely with our healthcare preparedness coalitions to share information and resources. The June meeting focused on tools and support services available to healthcare providers from the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. CISA provided an overview of cybersecurity vulnerabilities and the process by which healthcare entities could receive assessment services. The November meeting served as a reintroduction of the RDSTF Health and Medical Group to all of our members, new and old. Speakers from the FBI, BioWatch Program, the Bureau of Public Health Laboratories, and the Region 7 ChemPAC Coordinator all provided briefings and situational awareness. Our state partners also provided an update on the upcoming vaccine operations that we were planning at that time. The coalitions throughout Region 7 have supported their members not only through information sharing, but also through asset sharing. From PPE to sanitizing equipment, coalitions have served as a conduit for not only information, but also as a liaison between emergency management, hospitals, healthcare, and other state and local partners. We formally submitted projects for funding through the Domestic Security Coordinating Group and the UASI funding process. And while we were unable to secure all of the funding that we were seeking, we were able to secure over $600,000 to further the health and medical mission through the CARES Act for fiscal year 2021. To continue on more with our COVID response, I'm going to hand it over to Bill Senishin.
Health and Medical was involved with the past Super Bowl within Miami-Dade County. Health and Medical supported the BioWatch program, disseminated out information from the Fusion Center with law enforcement intended planning meetings. The Bureau of Public Health Laboratories, which includes the Miami Lab, has been a partner coordinating the receiving of COVID-19 samples for testing of the virus. The lab kept the COVID-19 supply distribution chains open 7 days a week during the pandemic. Health and Medical successfully delivered approximately 17,000 courses of the remdesivir medication to hospitals within Region 6 and 7 during a 52-day mission. During the mission, the support of the Fusion Center and law enforcement was used to route drivers through areas of social unrest. With the support of hospitals, daily reporting through the Emergency Status System, ESS, critical COVID-19 hospital data was disseminated to each of the 4 health officers within Region 7. The data has assisted with the public health response to COVID-19. The Department of Health Preparedness Directors within the 4 counties, who are members of the Regional Domestic Security Task Force, currently are disseminating SITREPs and/or status reports to each of the coalition chairs to keep the coalitions informed of the COVID-19 public health response.
Thank you, Bill. Region 7 has been at times the epicenter of the COVID response for the state. We have administered approximately 780,000 of the 2.7 million vaccines distributed in the state as of the beginning of February. We've also cared for approximately 34% of all hospitalizations in the state, with 74,543 in the state and 25,000 of those being cared for in our Region 7 hospitals. Moving forward, the hospitals are looking forward to returning to pre-COVID operations so that we can resume the training and exercises that are going to make us more prepared for the next event that may affect our area. Thank you all for your time and for your continued support. We look forward to seeing all of you in our virtual meeting in March and expect that you will be receiving an invitation from us shortly. Thank you very much and be safe.
Hi, I'm Lieutenant Randy Foley of the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. This is Lieutenant Pat Calvo of the Miami-Dade Police Department. We are members of the Regional Domestic Security Task Force focused on threat mitigation and threat assessments in the state of Florida. RDSTF mission statement is to strengthen Region 7's coordinated capability to prepare, prevent, protect, respond, and recover from community threats through interagency and multi-agency consensus, commitment to build on and rely on a strong regional collaboration. RDSTF Threat Management Group's purpose is to increase collaboration through region by region, increasing information sharing, unified investigative efforts, shared resources, and provide training to assist in threat mitigation efforts in the region and make sure they are consistent.
Greetings. My name is Patrick Howell from the Miami-Dade Police Department. The Threat Management RDSTF 2021 goals are to establish charter, develop information sharing systems, identify best practices for threat mitigation platforms, Identify RDSTF members for the charter. Build relationships with law enforcement and community providers in regards to threat mitigation. Coordinate with all the functional work groups to make available specialized resources for rapid response to threats to the community within Region 7. Thank you all for the opportunity to allow us to introduce the Threat Assessment Working Group for Region 7. We look forward to meeting you next month. And also a special thanks to the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office media crew.
Good morning, Region 7 RDSTF family. My name is Josh Green, RDSTF Training Exercise Liaison. I'll be presenting a review of trainings offered in 2020 and our program for 2021. As discussed many times before, 2020 went from an in-person formal training environment to the utilization of digital platforms to train, inform, and educate. From safety and comfort of our homes. In the first quarter of 2020, the RDS delivered the remaining of our Super Bowl 54 trainings, which included Texas A&M Engineering, TEACS, and New Mexico Tech Energetic Materials Research and Training Center, Medical Preparedness and Response to Bombing Incidents. Department of Homeland Security Office of Bombing Prevention, Surveillance Detection for Law Enforcement Security Professionals course, Bomb Threat Management Planning course, Vehicle-Borne Improvised Explosive Device course, VBID, Improvised Explosive Device, IED Search Procedure course, and Bomb Making Materials Awareness Program, BMAP. The success of our suite of large-scale and security training set a new bar for training within our region. It also grew the participation and network of our private sector, federal, state, tribal, and local governments and first responder communities. I would like to personally thank the chair of our Critical Infrastructure Functional Work Group, Gary Warren, the RDSTF team, Broward County, FDOT, and Miramar Fire Rescue and Police. Starting in April of 2020, since the pandemic put a brakes on our in-person training, we started to push out virtual trainings to continue offering education and informational opportunities. Trainings from the following institutions were pushed out to our regional network, from Florida International University, George Perez Metropolitan Center, Louisiana State University, National Center for Biomedical Research and Training, Department of Homeland Security, Office of Bombing Prevention, Department of Homeland Security, Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, and National White Collar Crime Center, NW3C. Since the beginning of the year, we started to see in-person trainings bleep back on the radar, but class sizes will most likely continue to follow social distancing restrictions. This will probably be the reality until vaccinations and COVID cases are substantially reduced, if not eliminated. We will continue our digital delivery of online education and continually add new partners to create more opportunities for all functional work groups, private sector, government, and first responders. This year's theme is to develop trainings which focus on using equipment and technology purchased with grant funding. As most of you know, understanding the full capability of an asset will prepare your team to efficiently and quickly respond. Also, bringing in other regional teammates will give the asset more value if needed within other jurisdictions. In addition to team building. I would like your thoughts on this idea. I would also like to know your functional work group's training needs. So please, I encourage you to reach out to me or one of the RDSTF team members so we can discuss how we can work for your work group to create a successful 2021 year of training and exercise. Thank you for your time and stay safe.
I'm Joe Pineda, the Regional Co-Coordinator for the Terrorism Liaison Officer Program for Region 7, which is from Monroe County to Palm Beach County. We are looking to grow our program to have additional personnel both in the law enforcement, fire, and also in the private sector. You can get further information from our website at the Fusion Center at seffc.org. And please click on how to become a terrorism liaison officer. In that website, you'll be able to find out the history of how our program came to be, and we're looking forward to you joining our program so you could be our eyes and ears.
Hi, my name is Bob Palestrant. I'm the Regional Coordinator for the Terrorism Liaison Officer Program. Our program started in 2008, and it's grown to over 1,300 members who have been trained in situational awareness, transfer information to and from the Fusion Center, and sharing information with our colleagues and our counterparts across the region. We have a program that is unique in the fact that we include critical infrastructure, fire rescue, emergency management, health department, something that most departments and most regions do not do across the country. However, we are looking to make those changes apply on a national basis. I'm also working with other fusion centers to enact a national fusion liaison officer program. We have core components of each program that will be available across the country. With the recent pandemic, we have had to make major changes in the way we offer the program. We are in the process of looking at possibly giving this in an online form as well as face-to-face in the classroom. If so, we will conform to social distancing, mask wearing, temperature taking, and making sure that all our instructors and our participants are safe. Our online program will most likely be broken into several sections, either hour or 2 hour long sessions, where people can take that from the comfort of their office or home or in a larger setting with multiple personnel at the organization. We hope to have you included in this program if you haven't done so. In addition to what we've done already, we're looking to put together a level 2 program, an advanced level TLO that will encompass everything that we've learned so far, in addition to having possibly a tabletop exercise or going more in depth into each of those components. Thank you for your time. I hope you can join our program.
Hi, my name is Richard Walterman, and I'm the Region 7 Chair for the Campus Safety Functional Working Group. I, along with our co-chair, Bureau Chief Dennis Weiner of the Palm Beach County School Police Department, foster engagement from school and campus safety personnel from throughout the region. The Campus Safety Functional Work Group works along with our members to continuously find methods and projects designed to enhance safety at schools and campuses. The 2020 calendar year was challenging, to say the least, with everything that revolved around the pandemic and our activities designed to keep people safe. Saddled with these complications, we continued our efforts and even completed and submitted a request for funding in the 2020 funding cycle. Our membership is comprised of both public and private sector, from the education community to include grade school and campuses of higher education. Each site has its own needs and complications and therefore its own special requirements. Some campuses are standalone schools hosting one set of grades, such as elementary school, middle school, and high school, and some are very creative campuses hosting everything from preschool all the way through doctoral education. Each entity creates a unique opportunity for the campus safety to work towards providing enhanced safety. Our mission is to organize our capabilities throughout the region to be able to provide a coordinated response of resources in the time of need at an educational facility. Through collaboration, campus safety works to identify and close gaps in areas related to school infrastructure safety, define programs designed to enhance safety at schools and on campuses, ensure that those who need access to response standards are well trained and able to leverage those response standards, identify the available resources throughout the region to be able to respond to a major scene and to add immediate capabilities, and to provide access and literature and training on the See Something, Say Something national reporting campaign. Our request for funding has revolved around actual response efforts where areas for improvement were identified by first responders. These areas for improvement were often captured in after-action reports and detailed in improvement plans. In this respect, our request for funding was not born out of some theory or think tank that envisions a better response methodology. They were not even recommended by a vendor, as some valuable projects are, but actual response from first responders who responded to emergencies. We continue to work with school resource officers and school safety sections to identify best practices and areas for improvement to implement and, if necessary, take corrective action. Some of our requests for funding included in 2020, in addition to dealing with all the COVID-19 response complications, Campus Safety requested funding for a system that would allow law enforcement personnel access to a school or campus that had already been placed in lockdown mode. The project called for a key vault to be installed at the access point of a school or campus. The vault would contain several sets of master keys that would provide complete access to the location. Law enforcement personnel would be able to access the vault, take a set of keys, and begin to deploy available contact teams. The project allowed for a two-vault system that added additional safety for the master key sets for that campus or school. This project was born out of response to an actual event where law enforcement personnel needed to gain access to hundreds of locked doors with only the aid of breaching tools. The problem with breaching tools were the time lost to breaching and the vulnerable position that law enforcement personnel were placed in the breaching process. For the 2021 funding cycle, we are projecting a Train the Trainer project that revolves around the National Stop the Bleed campaign. Stop the Bleed is a national awareness campaign and a call to action. Stop the Bleed is intended to cultivate a grassroots effort that encourages bystanders to become trained, equipped, and empowered to help in a bleeding emergency before professional help arrives. Our aim in this project is to train bystanders in schools and on campuses to be ready in case of emergency. When an active shooter incident takes place, the first responder may be school faculty or staff before law enforcement or fire rescue can respond. We plan to leverage the resource at the University of Miami's Gordon Center or a similar facility to train new instructors on the methods and benefits of the Stop the Bleed campaign. This Train the Trainer project will train school resource officers and other school safety members on the proper use of tourniquet equipment and when and why to use this type of equipment. We plan to train trainers in all 4 of the counties that comprise our region. These trainers can then go back to their jurisdictions and train school faculty and staff on the Stop the Bleed campaign. Bleeding out as the result of a gunshot wound is a real-world phenomenon. We have the capability to lessen this type of tragedy, and through programs like the Stop the Bleed, we may be able to save lives. The federal government, state of Florida, and the Southeast Florida Regional Domestic Security Task Force recognize the necessity to enhance safety and security at educational institutions, both public and private, as a result of events that occurred around 9/11, active shooter incidents, and other acts of violence occurring throughout the world. Our Campus Safety Working Group will continue to work towards an end result of keeping our schools and campuses as safe as humanly possible.
Gary Warren and myself are the chair and co-chair for the Critical Infrastructure Group. We work closely with our partners and private partners in the Critical Infrastructure Working Group. We have over 50 members. Our goal is to ensure that our members work with each other and that we ensure and give them intelligence that is needed for their local entities for their 16 sectors. At this time, we connect our partners with the respective first responders. We ensure that we review upcoming security plans and modernize their security plans. And we also go ahead and ensure that there is training such as see something, say something for our partners in the working group. We have 3 goals this year. One is to connect our telecommunications division along with the private partner telecommunications and 911 centers. We're going to review the Nashville bombing, review lessons learned from there, and then work from there to ensure that we have a plan in place and work together from lessons learned. Then we have a risk mitigation plan so we can forward that towards the DSOC for upcoming funding. Our next goal is to ensure training. We'll have virtual training and hands-on training, which will include active shooter training, bomb prevention, and threat assessments. And finally, we'll meet with our partners to ensure that the intelligence and training needs are met for them.
Hello, my name is Michael Nugent. I am the Region 7 Chair for Fire.
How are you? I'm Mike Garcia. I'm the Region 7 Fire Work Group Co-Chair.
We'd like to brief you on what we've done over the last 12 months. Unfortunately, with the COVID-19 restrictions, we have really been unable to do in-person training, drills, or scenario work. But we have been meeting monthly via conference call. We have representatives from Palm Beach, Broward, and Miami-Dade. Most of the things we talk about is teamwork, productivity, and how things are getting done on individual team bases. We have been working on some short-term, mid-range, and long-term goals once we get past the restrictions. We talk about in-house training involving multiple teams and selection of training topics.
Greetings, distinguished members. My name is Frank Martinez. I'm the Director of Information Security at Nova Southeastern University, and I have the honor of serving as your RDSTF Region 7 Chair for the Cybersecurity Functional Working Group. The year 2020 presented a number of unprecedented events and challenges for us all. On a global scale, our world encountered an infectious disease crisis, the likes of which had not been seen in over a century. Nationally, our country faced social and political turmoil that has scarcely been matched in almost a century and a half. As a result of all these challenges, our society underwent a rapid and drastic change. In order to facilitate the social distancing that would help keep the pandemic and virus in check, many businesses transitioned to having their employees work from home. Likewise, our schools also transitioned to online delivery as a means to continue providing their critical services while observing the guidelines that would help to keep transmission of the virus to a minimum. These changes required a rapid and absolute reliance on technologies which, while they were all relatively well established in principle, had never been tested in practice under these circumstances or to this extent. This new degree of reliance on technology has only served to heighten the need for better cybersecurity in every respect. Companies, public entities, governments, and private citizens all have a part to play in ensuring that we are able to contribute and continue to thrive despite our current circumstances. In particular, we must strive to ensure that we learn and implement sound security practices in our daily lives. Conducting business via Zoom, buying food and household supplies via Uber Eats and Instacart. Our practicing of good security in our daily lives has never been more critical, both to our individual well-being as users of these technologies and to our collective well-being as members of a society that's come to depend on these technologies in such an unprecedented set of circumstances. During our last in-person meeting in March of 2020, as the threat of COVID-19 was only beginning to be perceived by most, the Cybersecurity Group spoke about our planned symposium event. This event would have brought together members of federal, state, and local law enforcement communities, along with members of the general public and representatives of some of our large local employers. Our intended goal was to share knowledge of cybersecurity hygiene and best practices, as well as to foster an understanding and trust among these communities, where historically a lack of understanding of the roles, responsibilities, and risks of reporting and sharing information had hindered collaboration among these groups. Having presented this proposal to our state board, it was determined that this effort, rather than be limited to a single region, should instead be targeted statewide. As such, the focus of this effort and the resources associated with it were redirected to the statewide Committee of Cybersecurity Functional Working Groups from across all the regions in Florida. At present, and in consideration of the ongoing working conditions, the symposium has been planned as an online webinar-style event that will include content similar to what was originally proposed for the in-person event. It does remain a goal for our group to host an in-person event specific to our own region once conditions allow. In 2020, our group completed virtual trainings, webinars, and meetings, and managed to remain on track with the funding grant opportunities provided to our state and region. The cybersecurity group accomplished the following through templates submitted from fiscal year 20 to fiscal year 21. From the fiscal year 20 State Homeland Security Program funding year, we were provided with the opportunity to attend virtual statewide SANS cyber intrusion training, or cyber intrusion incident response training, I should say. The training certified 7 members within each region and over 40 members across state agencies and departments. We were awarded and approved for 2 funding cycles that included cybersecurity training for election supervisors. We transformed our regional cyber symposium event into a statewide event that is scheduled to take place in North, Central, and Southeast Florida in the upcoming year. We are in the process of conducting a cyber assessment in collaboration with federal partners to better serve, respond to, and prevent emergencies displayed within any regional gaps identified in emergency communications systems as well as local law enforcement agencies. We will be moving forward with the state funding for fiscal year 21 on 24/7 monitoring for local law enforcement agency networks that was submitted for the fiscal year 21 State Homeland Security Program grant. And lastly, we were awarded 2 regional cybersecurity analyst positions from the fiscal year 21 Urban Area Security Initiative WASI grant to better assist with cyber vulnerabilities throughout multiple jurisdictions in order to close these gaps identified as a result of the assessments conducted previously. For 2021, we foresee a continuation of many of the same cybersecurity challenges that we faced in 2020. Many people continue to rely heavily on technology and the internet to sustain them as the efforts to end the pandemic proceed at a pace that, while it does offer the promise of an effective conclusion, does not appear to do so until the latter part of the year. As such, we will continue to be at increased risk from cyber threats. Our efforts will remain focused on better, more effective communication across our region to help our colleagues and neighbors recognize that what these threats are and better protect themselves against the risks that they pose. I thank you for your attention to this message and look forward to seeing you all at our functional working group breakout sessions in March. Please be advised that we'll be conducting a virtual group meeting and invitations will be sent out to all group members as we approach the date. Thank you.
I'm Gilbert Yap, Chair for the Intelligence Investigation, and I'd like to introduce my co-chair.
I'm Christine Vargas-Bala with FDLE, the co-chair of I&I.
The 2 main events happened for 2020 has been a memorable year. We only will cover the Super Bowl and the protests. On the Super Bowl live kickoff, so I'll just like to go into a little bit of what happened. Our RDSTF groups with a focus on law enforcement response, communications, intel and investigations, fire rescue, health and medical, and maritime participated in this large-scale event. Multiple event activations took place, and the event had little or no major incidents to report. Leading up to this event, we conducted multiple trainings on the WebEOC and Homeland Security Information Network, the HISN, for all agencies involved to ensure the flow of timely information for all partners.
Law enforcement analysts assigned to various locations throughout the Miami area were responsible for identifying and communicating incidents and threats that were discovered during social media research, tips, and leads to the HISN Super Bowl 54 Joint Operations Center. Investigators and intelligence analysts at the Southeast Florida Fusion Center and the Intelligence Operations Center would then review the information, conduct a search of relevant databases, and update the HISN site with additional information.
The improved situational awareness provided by HISN, available to personnel located at the Joint Operations Center, the Intelligence Operations Center, and the Southeast Florida Fusion Center, Miami-Dade County, Emergency Operations Center, Joint Special Operations Command, and the Miami Beach Convention Center. This allowed interagency partners to more effectively track threats such as firearms violations, unauthorized drones, explosives alerts, social media threats, and suspicious persons. The Homeland Security Information Network, HISIN, was also used to share sensitive Super Bowl 54 protected critical infrastructure information, otherwise known as PCII, the local, state, and public safety partners. DHS created the PCI program to safeguard sensitive infrastructure information voluntarily shared with the government for Homeland Security purposes. The PCI can only be accessed in accordance with strict safeguards and handling requirements, which HISIN supports. Federal partners using HISIN included the FBI, Department of Defense, National Counterterrorism Center, and 9 DHS agencies. 20 local and state agencies use HISIN, including the Southeast Florida Fusion Center, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, the Miami-Dade County Police, Emergency Management, and Fire Rescue Departments. Miami, North Miami, Palm Beach, Miramar, Aventura, and Tampa officials were also among the partners using HISIN. Because of this collaboration in the site, DHS recognized the HISIN and awarded the site a HISIN Gold Award.
In reference to protests, rallies, and demonstrations in the AOR for situational awareness, live sit reps were sent out via a ReadyOp link and were updated throughout the day. It was sent out to all partners along with our Southeast Florida Fusion Center notifications. This allowed various agencies to prepare for any public safety issues, such as the size of the event, manpower needed, and to identify agitators and criminal activity that could jeopardize the safety of the officers and the public.
For 2021, currently we're looking at the problems we're having with police agitators, police auditors as such. This increased incidence of police agitators, and Miami-Dade Police Department is working with the State Attorney's Office to enhance Florida statutes to address police agitators. We look forward to seeing you all next month. We will send a group invite for a breakout session, and please stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Cindy Cast. I'm the Radio System Manager for Miami-Dade County. I am also the Region Chair of Communications.
Hello, I'm Mark Filla. I'm Palm Beach County's Radio System Manager, and I'm the co-chair for Region 7's Communications Subcommittee. The primary purpose of the Communications Workgroup is to focus on increased awareness of public safety communication assets and interoperabilities and vulnerabilities enabling public safety users with the information. In addition, the workgroup provides operational oversight and management of interoperable communication issues in Region 7 related to domestic security and public safety communications.
2020 was a very unique year in our history. Some accomplishments from the group in 2020 were we provided communication coordination for the following incidents and events. The first being Super Bowl Live that took place in Miami-Dade County with local and federal agencies. The second was the pandemic response with hospitals, health resources, and first responders. The third was Broward County transition to a new P25 radio system with regional agencies. The fourth, the demonstrations and protests in the county and in the community with regional agencies. And the last, presidential town halls, debates, and pre-election events with participating agencies in the region. The second was the Maritime Radar Regional System, which was repaired after the damage it encountered during recent storms and hurricanes. Now the Palm Beach radio site and the Miami-Dade County radio site are both operational. So we're able to track the boats and the vessels in the ocean. The third was coordinate grant package and be awarded funds for the Region 7 Mutual Aid Radio Communications Unit, which is also known as the MARC. Funds are for replacing a portion of the radio cache, expanding interoperability, and allowing this interoperability to take place with the EOCs. And finally, replacing some of the agent repeaters.
Some of our goals for 2021, the first item is provide communications interoperability coordination for upcoming events and incidents. Conduct regular meetings with our committee members. And last, provide virtual training opportunities on new technologies such as new systems and the updated MARC unit.
The next virtual meeting for the communications group is scheduled for Wednesday, March 24th at 1:30. Feel free to reach out to Mark or myself if you want to add any of the agenda items for this meeting.
No one forecasted the impact that COVID-19 would bring to us on personal or professional levels when we began our meetings at the beginning of last year. This virus brought many difficult challenges to including keeping our personnel safe while continuing to be successful public servants to our communities within the region. The initial public safety executive orders issued from state and county levels throughout the region closed many land-based businesses, which impacted the maritime FWG directly. This created unexpected consequences that we are still facing today. One of the few outlets we have seen been people recreating in our waterways, beaches, outdoors in general, which were greatly accessed by boating. This last year we saw an increase in boating activity well above normal numbers you would normally see during the summer holidays, which strained resources around the entire state. This created additional state and county social distancing orders, restricting vessels congregating on sandbars, limiting the number of people on boats, and even closing public boat ramps. We also witnessed cancellation of traditional annual boating events that would have included boat races, tours, tournament, rallies, parades, and more. With this being said, I'd like to thank you all for your continued support and participation as a group. More important now than ever, our maritime partnership between federal, state, county, and city were in constant communication supporting each other as we went through something none of us has ever seen or experienced before. Civil unrest certainly put an unfavorable focus on some of our law enforcement members as well. We saw peaceful protests, but also some violent protests occurring throughout the U.S., which created additional challenges within the state and region. We are grateful that our maritime agencies saw a lot of support from the boating community, which came to understand the purpose of our patrols. During the 2020 presidential election, there were a lot of stress placed on voters throughout the election process. In Region 7, we experienced several Trump boat parades involving well over 2,000 boats who, thankfully, participated in a peaceful manner. To close off our 2020 recap, COVID-19 had a significant impact on the state's economy, and many agencies saw reductions in their budget allocation. In the next fiscal year, the state again will have to make tough decisions on budget cuts, which we are pending more information about. Now, let's talk about the year ahead. Although there are some uncertainties on what that will bring, here's what we can expect. COVID-19 will continue to be an impact in Region 7. Safety of our personnel will continue to be paramount. We anticipate annual boating events to be canceled. However, we still expect the boating public to continue the traditional celebrations of these events on our waterways. These include Boca Bash, holiday weekends, Columbus Day Regatta, social media-driven flotilla boating events. In-person training will be limited. However, we are trying to see what online resources we have available and will keep everyone posted on anything being offered. We still have traditional issues such as heavy boating traffic, increase of illegal charter boats, increase in illegal boating liveries, anchor boats, derelict vessels, natural disasters. I'm looking forward to getting our outstanding team together in person in the near future, and we'll see you all virtually next month. We'll be sending calendar invitations from the upcoming FWG breakout session as we approach the date. Thank you and stay safe.
Hello, I'm Erica Benitez with Miami-Dade Fire Rescue and the Office of Emergency Management. Although last year was a challenge, in 2020, the Joint Media Work Group made some significant strides. First of all, we appointed a new chair, Gina Carter, previously the PIO for Broward Sheriff's Office and currently the PIO for City of Delray Beach. The work group also appointed me as the group's co-chair to work alongside Gina. The design and acquisition of a new JIC, a Joint Information Center, to serve as a resource for the region remains our group's main focus. Additionally, we plan to reach out to members and get their feedback to help us determine what resources and training would best meet the needs of our membership moving forward. Joint media members, please be on the lookout for our group's notification for next month's individual breakout session. We will be hosting our virtual session and look forward to meeting and working with you all. Please feel free to email us any speaking points or any agenda topics that you would like to cover in the upcoming meeting. Thank you and stay safe.
Good morning. I'm Michael Hans, one of your Regional Domestic Security Task Force coordinators. On behalf of our coordinators, our planner, and our liaisons, we want to thank all of our public and private sector partners in Region 7 for keeping our region safe and secure from Palm Beach County all the way down to Monroe County. We realize that there will always be struggles in this region, be it a pandemic, be it a terrorist attack, or a natural disaster. But we find solace in knowing that we have the most capable and resilient professionals in the state of Florida to answer those needs. Whatever happens in this region, we know that our professionals will adapt, improvise, and overcome like we always have, and we thank you for that. At this time, I'd like to introduce our other coordinator of the Regional Domestic Security Task Force, Lieutenant Mike Palacios.
We would also like to thank our chair and co-chair, Sheriff Bradshaw and Zach Walker, for their inspirational leadership to this region. Additionally, we want to thank our chairs and co-chairs of our functional work groups for all they do within their area of expertise for the region. We truly have the best people in the state working in partnership to make Region 7 a remarkable place. Please take the time and watch the attached active shooter video from the FBI. We hope to see you all in the near future at our face-to-face regional meeting. Until then, stay safe.